I mean, finding themes and stories is not an easy thing, and it takes a lot of practice. Today we have all these stories. A lot of them are based on true events in history. They're really beautiful books, some of them, with just artwork and literature. Good way to practice themes. So, I don't know, in identifying themes in books, you can take the main events or things that are happening in the books and think about what's threaded throughout the story, the message that the author is trying to give. That applies to the outside world. So to practice identifying themes in books, I wanted to share a story by Nasruddin Hoxha, who's a Turkish trickster and storyteller. So I'm just going to go right into telling that short story by him called Eat My Coat, Eat.
So try to listen and see if you can identify a theme when Corey's reading this short story.
So, the Hoxha was invited to a banquet. Not wanting to be pretentious, he wore his everyday clothes, only to discover that everyone ignored him, including the host. So he went back home and put on his fanciest coat, and then returned to the banquet. Now he was greeted cordially by everyone and invited to sit down and eat and drink. When the soup was served to him, he dunked the sleeve of his coat into the bowl and said, "Eat, my coat, eat." The startled host asked the Hoxha to explain his strange behavior. "When I arrived here wearing my other clothes," explained the Hoxha, "no one offered me anything to eat or drink. But when I returned wearing this fine coat, I was immediately offered the best of everything. So I can only assume that it was the coat and not myself who was invited to your banquet." So
I realize next course I'm going to have a printed out copy to follow along. I realize it's probably hard sometimes to catch the message when it's being read to you.
So, as I'm reading this story, I'm noticing a few things that happen. This Hoxha, he's going to this banquet, and he's wearing his regular clothes, and everybody's ignoring him. So that's one event that I'm identifying. The next thing that's happening is he goes home and gets his fancy coat, and everybody's saying, "Oh, Hoxha, come, eat, drink, Hoxha." So he's responding to that by dunking his coat into the soup or drink and saying, "Eat, my coat, eat." So this is one way of organizing, should I do it like this?
Yeah.
Of organizing themes. Main events in the story can go out here. So these events that I've identified are like, goes to banquet in regular clothes. And wears fancy coat to banquet. And in looking at how people are responding to the Hoxha, the theme that I've gotten from this story would be that what was it? That wealth is valued more than the human being because of the way that they're responding to him, and his response to that is, "Eat, my coat, eat." And this message that the Hoxha is trying to give in telling the story is that the coat is recognized and the Hoxha himself isn't. So for my theme, I might identify as wealth valued. Right?
Yeah. Does everyone get the end when he's saying, "Eat my coat, eat"? What message he's trying to share? Can you express it, Olivia? Take a go at it.
That they were offering the food and stuff, and it's still not getting so giving the food to his coat.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he came in wearing regular clothes, they're like, "Oh, we don't really care about you." But he comes in wearing fancy clothes, and they're like, "Hey, join us, be part of us." So it was about the coat, not about him.
So this other side, because theme is connecting to our lives outside of the story, this other side of this organizer, the theme, can be I guess, application to everyday life. So does anybody have an idea about how this could be applied to life that we live or experience? Like a real life story, or I've had time to think about it, so I understand that. Okay, so I watched a video recently where there was an experiment done where there's an experiment done around people who are homeless not being recognized on the street, or people just not giving them the time of the day. So they had people's family members dressing up in like ragged clothes and sitting on the sides of the street. So people's wives or husbands or their own children would be walking by and not even turning to look at their own mother. And so I thought about that when I was reading this story, and a real life application that I've seen is that people who are homeless aren't given the time of day. So I might do something like that if I was connecting that to this story.
And simply because of the way that they're dressed, they're judged. People
Right.
are judged on the street, right? Of whether or not other people want to interact with them or not. So to think about, it was a great segue that you all brought up my clothes. So if I'm wearing something nice up here, you might listen better.
So, anyways, I think what we're going to practice today is you all get to be in groups of 2 and choose some of these stories. And if you want help choosing a story, we can go through what all of them are about with you as you're coming up and picking them, or if one just seems appealing to you. And some of them can be pretty lengthy. Some of them have really rich vocabulary. So, and we don't have a lot of time, so just read through them with your partner so that you'll start to be able to identify themes and applying that to your own life.
And we'll pass this out to you all as you're reading. If you kind of want to jot down some notes about the events that happen in the book that you can connect to theme that you can put in the middle here. And then as time allows, try to identify one real life example that connects to the theme. And Corey and I will be here to like come and sit with you all and help.
Yeah. And one more thing, there's no right answer. There's no one theme for a story. You can choose any theme that you see in the story, but it has to be justified, and that's the main events in the story part. That theme that's threaded throughout the story, through the main events, needs to be justified. So you need to have the events in the story, basically.
Yeah.
But no right answers.
So we're just practicing pulling the evidence out of the book.
Anyways, so
So if you all want to come up and pick out a story that you're interested in.
So some of these are going to be more metaphorical and more like artistic and centered towards children.
Swimming.
Oh, yeah.
Someone
Oh my
who
god, swimming.
Killer gonna short one.
Penguin! Here. I
And
got
I've read through all of these, so you
all
want to know what any of them are about.
Guys,
Go town in a village in Brazil that's being developed.
The history of Finland relocated and put on the government.
You're just gonna get through as much as you can.
It's a long one, so if you wanted to read that. You don't mind.
read these books.
That's a beautiful one.
I want to read them first.
So please, most of these books aren't mine, so please be careful.